Hi guys, it's Foye, but you can call me Foye.
Hey, this is Lola, but you can call me Lola if you like. And this is the Everybody Hates HR pod.
Episode 7.
7. Yeah, I was going to say 6, but it's definitely 7.
Yeah.
We're both looking at each other like, who's going to say the last part?
I know.
We're missing Velisa today, guys.
Yeah.
She had something come up last minute, so you just going to have to hang out with us too.
I know.
But we'll try our best.
Of course.
I need to take a week off now.
Who?
Me.
No.
Just so we're all even
Or we're just taking turns. No. But I do love the consistency though, as in we keep plodding on.
The show must go on. Yeah. How's your week been?
So my week has been, I'm not going to lie, I haven't been sleeping.
Why?
It's been I've been going to bed at like 2 or 3. So it's a mixture of things. This was the first week. So I'm doing a 12-month fixed term contract. And this was the first week that both the people I'm covering for were not around. So it was like showtime. Like put everything to the
you've been doing handover until now. I got it.
And this week, I'm not going to lie, everything that could have just kicked off. And they're both maternity covers. So it's not like...
So you're covering for 2 people?
Yeah, so it's a mixture of 2 different roles.
And both of them are on maternity leave?
Yeah. And I'm like, did you plan that?
Listen.
Yeah. So I do have support, but again, the person that they brought in is also fixed term like me. So it's a new team. So it's got its pros and cons. But anyway, I made a really, really big mess up this week. Not at work, but just in lifestyle, I guess. I'm not a coffee drinker. I don't drink coffee.
Me neither.
But I thought I need coffee because this is a long week.
Do you drink tea?
Nope.
Oh, wow. I drink
Hot
tea.
chocolate only. So I've been drinking like 3 cups of coffee a day. And I'm there thinking, it's going to keep me awake. And it did.
At the wrong
even
time.
when I was trying to sleep. And it didn't hit me until this morning as to why I'm sleeping at 3 a.m. in the morning.
But then they say to have better sleep, I think you're not supposed to drink coffee after 2 p.m. because it hangs around in your
I will
body.
drink. I finish at 5 and I will have another one at 4:30 just before I leave. Just
extra kick.
Just why not? Yeah, so a really big mess up. So that's how my week's gone. How's yours?
My week's been good. I'm waking up at my average wake
Your
up
fun
time.
employment?
Yeah, I'm still on fun employment. So I'm waking up at like between 9:30 and 10. Do you know what? I got an Apple Watch.
Ooh.
I'm high tech now.
Okay.
And I like it. I love it.
Really
in fact.
coming.
Yeah.
Soft life is really softening.
And I got it like the bad thing is
and you
that
got
all
your
my
nails done.
I got my nails done. I'm getting my
very
eyelashes done
cute.
tomorrow.
You are.
I'm getting my hair done also on the weekend. So yeah, life is good. But all my devices are connected. So when my phone's ringing, it's now ringing on my watch. It's ringing on my MacBook. It's a bit much.
Okay.
And then I sleep with it. So when you guys, I'm looking at you start messaging in the group chat at 9 a.m. It wakes me up. And I just figured out the other day how to put it on Do Not Disturb.
Okay, good.
But generally, I'm just living like an unemployed person, but
Must be nice.
Yeah, it is. But except unemployed people, they have like the fear of not working above them. So I sleep like, and I live like an unemployed person, but in a better way because I have no worries because I know I'm going back to work on the 30th of May. But now it's good. Like I've had a list of things that I was gonna want to do during this time. I said I'll just chill, and we're like 10 days in or something, and I ain't done nothing. And I love that for me.
That's how it should be, though. I would enjoy it because it's coming to an end.
I've started watching the Marvel chronology. Like, so I'm watching all the Marvel things in order, but just the films.
How's that going?
Yeah, it's good. Like that's the most productive thing I've done. And I went to
I love that for you though.
Yeah, I went to a couple weddings. Like, people get married on all sorts of days now.
It's wedding season.
I know.
I'm here for it though.
I know. I would actually end up going as a +1 to the wedding that Velisa was a bridesmaid, chief bridesmaid for, which was really beautiful, and her dress was amazing.
I saw that dress.
Amazing. And then the next day, Velisa flew out to go on holiday. So when she comes back next week, she'll have to tell us about how her holiday was.
Yeah, she's gonna have to update us on that.
And how her son was on the plane, and if she got the iPad.
Yeah,
bet you got it.
we need all of that information. I'm here for it.
No, but it's been good. It's been good. Yeah, next week will be more of the same. I am hoping to like do a little bit more. I've got like a new chest of drawers, or a chest of drawers that I bought secondhand that I want to do some like upcycling
DIY
or whatever
stuff.
with. So that will be my project, and yeah, that's it. I'm not planning really to do anything else.
Do you like doing DIY?
I like doing. I wouldn't say I like doing DIY. I like working on projects, but only fun ones. Like if something breaks, I'm not going to enjoy fixing the handle. But like turning one thing into another thing, like fun projects. Like I like arts and crafts.
Okay.
But
Fair.
not DIY.
Fair.
Anything that feels like labour, generally, I don't like.
I hear it.
So what has been in the news this week?
What has been in the news this week? Obviously, as you know, we are post-pandemic. Are we? Or are we? We're out of the pandemic, right?
To be honest, I don't know. It's just. I think it went from pandemic to epidemic, and then it went from epidemic to vibes.
Okay, we're in vibes.
We're in vibes mode now. We're just pretending. Everyone's got COVID. No one cares.
Yeah. That's how it. Yeah, no, that's true. But in this vibe sort of mode, a lot of companies have decided to adopt hybrid working.
Yeah.
And that seems to be the norm amongst majority of sensible companies.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we was reading somewhere, I think it's a law firm, I can't remember their name. They've decided that they've offered hybrid working, so you need to be in the office 60% of the time. But if you decide that you do not want to come into the office and you want to do fully remote working, you've got to take a pay cut of 20%. How do you feel about that?
Do you know what? When you initially said it, like when we spoke about it before, I was like, no, that's very wild. Like, that's crazy. I would never. But I guess there are like winners and losers in it. It wasn't until you said for the people outside London, it makes sense, because right now, like you get cost of living. So the same job that you do in London, you don't get paid the same amount for the same job outside. So let's say there's a HR manager role or something. Obviously it's a law firm, but let's say there's a HR manager role in London that's at 60 grand. In Manchester, that might only be at 45 or 50.
Exactly.
So I can see how it could make sense for those people, because imagine you could be in Edinburgh earning London money minus 20%. And then that actually makes so much sense. The only thing is they said that you do have to be in the office one day per month, but they will pay.
Yeah. So
you still have to do the travel once
a month is okay.
Yeah. Once a month, I'll fly from Edinburgh.
Yeah, I would do once a month. Do you know what wasn't clear though, or what I'd be interested to know, is if you could be abroad? Because let's say I'm in Nigeria. Yeah.
They're not going to allow that.
But let's say I'm in Nigeria on a 60k salary and only having to come in once a month and it's paid or whatever, even if you have to pay for yourself, whatever.
You get the £300 flight sometimes. Yeah. That's
a nice life.
It is. That's how I can see it making sense for people that are not in London. But 20% to like, it's not, the reason in London doesn't make as much sense is because your travel is not 20%.
Oh yeah, of course.
So if you're,
it's rude.
Yeah, it's rude. It's very, very, very rude.
It's rude.
It only works if you are commuting from far, or if you want to take, like, if you decide to take a job which is in theory a London-based job and you live elsewhere.
Yeah.
And there's other companies who have offered remote working with no pay cut.
Yeah, and that's how it should be. I think it's actually very cheeky to tell someone to take a reduction in pay when it comes to costs, to travel expenses, because you don't pay me to in my job description. It had nothing to do with, this salary includes your traveling.
I get it. I get why they do it, because in London, for instance, so if in London, I only really understand it for the capital or high cost locations, because they do give you increased money for cost
London
of living.
waiting.
And the thing is, if you live here, you still, just because you're not traveling doesn't mean you're not suffering that cost of living. Do you get what I mean? So I don't think that they should, just because you're not traveling, decrease your money. But I get why, like, let's say you might advertise, let's say your current HR manager is paid 60k, and then you advertise the new job, it being remote, at 50 or 55, knowing that probably the people that would take that job won't be in London. I can understand bringing it down for new people who can choose to come from a further location. But I think asking people to take a pay cut is very, very, very wild.
I still don't subscribe. Do you know why? Because when you go HR, okay, you've gone to uni, you've got your degree, you've done your CIPD. That's what you're paying me for. You're not paying me.
And I choose where I live. Because I could have chosen to live anywhere. Even when you were paying me London money, I could have been living far. People do. Some people commute.
Yeah, of course. So I just don't think that's how my thinking is. I just don't think it's fair. And also 20% does not equate to my travel.
That's what I'm saying. It doesn't it can only make sense to attract people to travel to London once a month who live far away. Because that's actually a very, very, very wild thing.
Steep.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's actually crazy. But yeah, I just don't understand why that. And they're all it's a law firm, right?
I know.
I'm sure they're all leafing through their contracts. What the hell is this?
It's true. I did think about that actually, because I was thinking surely one person there must have been like, this can't run.
But the thing is, it can, because it's all about you agreeing to different terms and conditions on that basis.
I just don't think it's very competitive in today's market they're not forcing you to do it. It is an option.
But I don't think law firms are not, I don't know what they're doing as standard. So are most law firms allowing people to work fully remote? As lawyers, I can't imagine why you wouldn't, because you can work on things remotely.
I think it is an industry standard. If you are a lawyer, don't shoot me. But just this is my own stats from the round table talk that I was in last week, which was just a room full of other HR professionals and just sharing experiences around certain HR topics. And there were a couple law firms in there, and they actually mentioned this 20% pay cut.
Oh, so there actually other law firms are also. Wow, really?
Yeah. So I do think it's an industry standard or something that cartel. I know, right? Which, to be fair, in that world, maybe then isn't very competitive, because if it's the norm, it's not really you're not gonna have an advantage if you don't do it.
I don't understand why they need to. I just don't understand why it has to be give and take. You're gonna pay if you're happy for these people to come in, and if they come in, you're gonna pay them the 100%. So why do you need to? I don't understand why they need to save the money. You don't need to save. Your ideal is that they come in and you're happy to pay them 100%.
Yeah.
So I just don't understand why you don't need to. It's not like you're trying to make cost cutting.
Yeah. No, I'm just trying to deep and understand why, and I don't have an answer.
Stingy.
Yeah, I don't have an answer.
It's give and take. I mean, I appreciate the employment relationship is give and take in general, but that feels proper stingy to me.
Yeah, I'm just glad it's not enforced, because if it was and it was me, I'd be looking somewhere else. Because where I'm at in life right now, my pay is very important to me. So 20% is just.
No, they couldn't. They could never do that. You'd have to separately agree. They can never change your terms and conditions. Yeah. That would be in a law firm.
Well, it'd be
suicide.
Catastrophic.
Yeah. So on to the next story. I sent this thing to the group today about this. This is just so wild. When we spoke about it, or when I shared it was like, this is just ridiculous. So I'll try and condense the story. There was a guy who worked in a factory, I want to say somewhere up north. He was called a bored see you next Tuesday when he got into an argument with somebody, and they called him that. They said, bored, see you next Tuesday. And he basically raised an unfair dismissal claim about something else. And as part of that, he said he was discriminated against because he said it was sexual harassment, right? And sex discrimination. And it was found to be founded. So judges agreed with him. He went to tribunal, and a panel of three male judges who were also balding and had and also shared that they also had issues with, going bald and issues with their hair. They said that it is sexual harassment because and sex discrimination, because being having hair loss issues is more prevalent in men than it is in women. So you're commenting on something which is to do with him being a man, which wouldn't be like relevant to a woman, which we'll talk about anyway. And then the bit that killed it for me is they said commenting on a man's hair when you're talking about him being bald is just as bad or similar to commenting on the size of a woman's breast. Discuss.
Now that's wild. That's just so wild. So wild. As I'm listening to you, I'm just picking.
There's so much.
There's so much to unpack. There's so much to unpack. I don't even know where to start. The fact that the 3 men on the tribunal judge panel, that they're men and also are sharing their experiences of being bald and their hairline receding.
The hair loss journey.
Yeah, is also very mad because are you
objective?
Are you supposed to do that?
No,
do you know
you're
what
not.
I mean?
It's like you can't be coming here to sympathize. It's like
seeing another black person
and be like, yeah, me, I know what it's like. You have to be a judge.
I know the struggles that you're going through. So I agree.
And cool. I really do feel like in this case, their own I wasn't there. Maybe that was more presented or whatever than is in the news. But I cannot accept that is sexual harassment or sex discrimination. And I actually think it is offensive to compare commenting on a man's hair and him being bald to commenting on the size of a female co-worker's breast. Are you okay? Can
someone make it make sense?
It doesn't make any sense.
Can someone make it?
It doesn't make any sense. Like, obviously, we've just had how can she slap from from Will and Jada?
Will and Jada, yeah, exactly. And I remember when Will slapped Chris Rock. Yeah, when Will slapped Chris Rock, and everyone's saying, "Oh, but he made a joke or comment about her hair. Is it alopecia?
Alopecia, yeah.
So that also is like
lots of women suffer with alopecia.
Hair, exactly.
Lots of women.
So how can you then now tell me that because he's a man that it's harassment against his sex when women also suffer the same thing? And you can't tell me that because more men suffer it that it's less of a harassment because there's higher numbers.
So I think you got it. What's the definition for harassment? So what is actually harassment?
I didn't screen munch it this time.
Don't. I'm glad everyone online is agreeing that screen munch is dead and it's 2022.
Yeah, I stand though on my words. It's a screen munch, okay?
Oh my God, I would never that. I will remember that forever.
So as with bullying, the person being harassed must feel disrespected, frightened, humiliated, insulted, intimidated, threatened, or undermined. But for it to officially count as harassment, the unwanted behaviour must have either violated the person's dignity, whether it was intended or not, or created an intimidating, hostile, degrading, humiliating, or offensive environment for the person, whether it was intended or not. So,
I mean, the funny thing here is they probably obviously when you cuss someone in general, you want to degrade them.
That's the whole point. That's what a cuss is. I want to evoke an emotion out of you.
Yeah, and I want you to be humiliated.
That's what a cuss is. I want you to feel dumb, embarrassed.
And they said, what's that thing that they said about intention? About whether you intended to do it or not. Yeah.
It doesn't really matter basically if it's intent. So whether it was intended or not. So even if you said something you could have said it and not meant it in that way, but if that person has perceived it
and felt that way,
it's by
so even
dictionary
if the person
definition.
didn't mean in this case to make a comment about his sex, then that's what they have in theory done. I mean, I fundamentally I disagree with the fact that it's sexual discrimination or sexual harassment, to be honest. Because
would you say it's any form of discrimination?
I mean,
or harassment?
I mean, I think he's definitely been it's harassing, I guess, or it's not nice. But I don't know if it comes. I wouldn't say it's discriminatory. I wouldn't have said it was discriminatory.
Yeah.
And obviously he was called something bad after they said the bald word.
Yeah.
But he's not fussed about that.
He's not phased. See you next Tuesday. Doesn't phase him. It's the bald part. And this is a conversation we were having, whereas saying if someone called you a black bitch,
Yeah.
what word would trigger you out of the two?
Yeah, no, it's true. Like, if you call me a black bitch, no, if you call me a black bitch, I'm gonna be offended. I mean, the fact that you call me a bitch is not nice, but the fact that you call me a black bitch, it's the black that makes it racist.
Yeah, now you're racist. That's the first thing I'm
before you're just not
thinking.
nice.
Yeah.
Now you're racist by adding black.
Most definitely.
Yeah, no, so I understand, like, calling him the a bald C word. I mean, whether or not any of it's relevant, but the bald part is the part that they're saying it makes it. That's the bad part.
He even threatened him after and said, "I'm gonna deck you."
Yeah,
None of that
phased
threatening
him.
behavior. That didn't phase him. It was the bald part, and that's how you know he's been insecure and suffering for a minute because that was a trigger.
Yeah, and I don't even know if it was a trigger. Like,
you don't think it was?
No, because he was in an unfair dismissal claim, so he had already been dismissed. Yeah, and he's basically trying to say it. And as part of the unfair dismissal, he brought this. I don't know what happened in his childhood, or if it is a trigger for him or whatever. But what I know is that when you've been dismissed and you're coming with an unfair dismissal claim, you just put as much as you can in the claim. You throw the kitchen sink at it. Everything you can think to say, you say it. So he might not even have cared that he was called bald. They may banter him in the pub. His friends may do it, or it may be something that really affected his heart. We don't know. But what I do know is that when people put in a claim, anything can go in there. They'll go back to 2016 and say, this is not the first time. One time you said this, that, and the other. I laughed, but it wasn't funny. Like, they will do all of that stuff. So.
And it stands. It actually holds.
And it's like what you said the other day about the last time about it depends on the judge.
Yeah, I do. Because the judges are human at the end of the day. So everyone has biases, and even people in these positions. And it takes a lot to obviously try and be as subjective as possible. Subjective. That was a really dumb moment.
Yeah. We don't want to be subjective. We want to be objective.
To be objective. However, humans are humans. Humans are humans. If you walk up in court and you see that the judge is black, you'll feel a type of, okay, maybe this judge is going to get me.
He might understand me.
Maybe this judge is going to understand me. You know what? I'd rather have this judge than if it was a white old man. You'd be like, oh, I'm done for. Do you know what I mean? We're humans.
One thing I would say about men men have never been accused of not supporting men. See, women, we get accused of not supporting other women all the time. Yeah. No one has ever accused men of not supporting other men because they actually do.
It's true. It's true.
I don't even know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but they'll support other men in it. They will empathize, something that apparently women aren't so good at doing, although I've had good experiences with women.
Same.
But yeah, and I can imagine they'll be like, yeah, I get it. Oh yeah, being bored. And going bored, I'm sure it's very like traumatic, it's difficult. But it's not for you to start bringing your own experience and thinking about how you felt the first time somebody called you.
Session during court.
Imagine.
Where all the judges are like, yeah, I remember the first time my hair started falling out.
And the fact that it was 3 men, I think if they had a woman on that panel and one of them had dared to say, speaking about a man going bald is the equivalent of commenting on they wouldn't even say it. Any woman who has ever been in an uncomfortable experience or uncomfortable situation with a man would have slapped those words out of their mouth, because that is ridiculous. But there's no female presence on that panel, so they could say something that wild. If you had ever experienced anything of someone commenting about, as a woman, someone commenting about your body, or somebody actually sexually harassing you in any situation, you wouldn't have let them say something so like wild. To come and all lives matter your breasts.
Can you imagine?
I'm tired.
And also, like, breasts are seen as sexual
objects. Yeah,
do you know what I mean? Your hair dropping out is not sexual.
It's not sexual. It's not sexual. It doesn't like, that's why I say, okay, I can get when they start saying sex discrimination, because the difference between sex discrimination and sexual harassment is about they're saying someone has discriminated against you based on something related to your sex. So, for instance, maternity discrimination is sex discrimination. So basically, they're saying we're discriminating against you because of something to do with your sex. So you're a woman, and as a woman, or someone who was born a woman, that you're the only people who can, face maternity discrimination or carry babies and whatever. So that is direct sex discrimination because it relates to your sex. Being bald is not sex discrimination in my mind because it's not just men who can experience
losing hair.
Yeah. So I just think that's very wild, and I definitely think I wonder if it will be appealed because I think it just hit all the headlines today. So I wonder what will happen, and I definitely think if they're calling it a landmark decision, and I'm like, please don't let this thing become precedent. That be the norm. That is definitely, that's crazy.
You cannot let that.
What other things affect women or affect men more than the other, but can still affect other people? Do you know what I mean? Like there's things that we as women might experience, men can also experience, but it's just us as we might experience more or less of it or whatever.
Yeah, exactly. And I hope people don't come for me. I just feel like for example, weight. I feel like both men and women can put on weight, lose weight, but I just feel like there's a big focus on women if they put on a lot of weight or lose too much weight in comparison to if a man does it, but it doesn't make it discrimination. I don't feel like that makes it sexual discrimination because both experience it, just one more than the other. Do you want to move on to the dilemma?
Yeah, let's do that.
Perfect. So I remember seeing the dilemma and thinking, oh, this could be interesting.
Yeah, it was a good one.
It was. It is.
Oh, so while Foye is finding it, guys, do send us your dilemmas. We're getting most of them on Instagram, but you can also send it to the email address, which I don't know, but it will be wherever you're watching this. It'll be in the description.
Yeah, basically.
And that's your job.
I was really thinking, what is it?
I'm not even trying to learn the socials anymore. Before we were like, oh, these are the socials, but now we're like, just read.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Right, so the dilemma goes, hey guys, love the pod. I have a dilemma. I genuinely, and I seriously mean genuinely, hate socializing with my colleagues. I find them painfully awkward, dirty in some cases, and their humour to be unbearable. Now, I'm a black woman, so I try my best to smile and work in the office and socialise before they use it against me. Is there really a way out of it? And do they use it against you, or is it a myth? I find it sad because I'm with them 9 to 6 and I want to be with my family 6 to 10, not with my colleagues again.
Oof. Lots to talk about here.
Yeah, but do you know what? I'm sure as I'm reading it, people are like, I can relate.
I can definitely relate to that. I've worked in places where, people are nice. Like, I've always gotten along with people, but there's a difference between getting along with people and wanting to spend all your hours with your colleagues. And I'm not necessarily that kind of person, mainly because I haven't necessarily always worked in environments where those are the kind of people I would hang out with outside of work.
Agreed.
I feel like when you're in the majority, sometimes the people who you work with are the people you would hang out with when you're outside of work. So you're quick to be like, oh, let's go to the pub, let's do this, let's do that. Not forgetting that not everybody is everybody's cup of tea.
Agreed. 100% agree. And there's a difference. I don't even mean to bring race into it, but it is what it is. Like you said, when you're a majority, it's very easy to be like, oh yeah, like let's do this, let's do that. But when you're a minority and that's not your norm, that's not your culture, and that's not what you would do outside of work, it is a bit more effort or a bit more uncomfortable. It's like a force.
Even
like you're forcing yourself to put yourself in those situations.
We'll answer the actual dilemma, but like even stuff like going to the pub, that's a perfect example. If when you're in the majority or that's your sort of thing, like going to the pub is very normal.
Yeah.
How many times have you ever been to the pub in your life outside of with work colleagues?
Once.
I have never actually no. It's one time I went to get a pie. They're good pub lunches. But besides going to get like lunch at like gastro pubs or something, I don't know why I would ever be in the pub.
Yeah.
Never. So when they're like, oh, let's go to the pub, you're like, this is normal for you, but actually I don't want to go to the pub. It's not something that I would do. Like, and for me, I don't drink, so like going to the pub is number one. The incentive of getting drunk or drinking, there's no incentive for me. And I always used to find that when I went to socials, when you're drinking, it's easy to forget food. Food is my alcohol. So it's like, you want me to be hungry and sober. I can't do it. I used to go to the pub and order chips. They'd be like, what do you want? Everyone would be like, I'll get chips. A beer. I'll get chips.
I get both. I need the food.
Yeah, same. But do you think,
have a drink?
Do you think, okay, so to answer the dilemma, is there a way out of it? And do you think it affects your progression?
Yeah. Sorry, I'm just reading it real quick again. Yeah. So should we dissect the first part?
Yeah.
Which is there a way out of it?
Yeah, if you don't want to go, don't go. It's more about the consequences of that.
Yeah.
So the way out of it, in terms of actually how you get out of it, you just say you're busy or you can't.
Yeah. I read somewhere on Twitter, this is not what I do, but I read somewhere on Twitter that someone actually said the best way to get out of it is to say yes from the beginning and then have an excuse towards the end. Because if you say no straight away, it just looks like you're not a team player.
Yeah, but how many excuses can you make up before people start clocking? Like, that's your reputation that you cancel last minute all the time.
How many socials are there?
No, but you can't say. That's what I'm saying. Like, eventually they'll know, you're not really coming. Like, then that kind of stuff, like people.
But saying no from the beginning too.
I used to basically like never go. And then I realized that, like, and this is kind of going into the second part, I do think it can hold you back.
Oh yeah,
because
definitely.
There's so much like water cooler stuff that you do. Like people want to work with people that they like, and when people get to know you in a social context, as long as you're not like a massive knob, like they will like you. And so I found that like I did feel like it was holding me back, so I started to go, but I was very selective. So I would only go to certain ones, and I would be like, okay, I'll go to one. I'll miss 3 or 4, then I'll go to another one, then I'll miss 3 or 4, and I'll be like, oh. And then I started making a joke about I go to the quarterly social, and it's enough. Like I didn't have to go to all of them, but I had to go enough so that people could say that I don't come.
Yeah,
they can never say that I never go out.
Yeah,
it's just I don't go as much as other people, and I'm not going to be the last one out.
Yeah,
but I just needed to go enough so that they could get to know me, so it didn't work against me. And I definitely feel like it does work against you in certain environments.
I agree. There's nothing, I pretty much agree with what you're saying, because my experience has been similar. And I was at a company for about just over 3 years, and I just remember the first year I went into this. I've always gone into work up until in that point with this, I don't mix work and my outside life. They are two separate things, and I don't know why,
especially in HR.
Yeah, but I don't know why. It was just, maybe it was just that. And I lived that. I was just like, you cannot be my friend on the outside. Like this just stays, this just stays in here, and I just stuck by it. But one thing that I did notice was I wasn't progressing, or people didn't really know me. So I kind of built a stigma of just being someone that just doesn't go out, or doesn't want to be part of the team, or doesn't want to show that side, and can be a bit uptight and XYZ. And then maybe year 2, my second year of being there, I went to a couple of the socials. My team actually was a team that I liked at that point in time as well, as in more, we could be friends on the outside. So it made it easier to go to the socials, because it's like, oh, we can go together and all of that kind of stuff. So when I did, and then have a few drinks, you mingle, you're talking, and you just notice you then start socializing a lot more with managers, with like line partners, people who can
and they actually reach out to you more.
Yeah, and people who can actually make things happen for you as well quickly. And like you said, they reach out the next day. They'll be like, "Oh, Foye, can you help me with this?"
Yeah, they know you. It helped you to raise your profile.
Exactly, and that's exactly what happened. I didn't know you was that fun. I didn't know you was and it's like, yeah, I just don't mix work and outside. But it definitely, I mean, hard work also took me to where I'm at now, but my career has gone the trajectory is quite quick.
Networking is everything.
Yeah.
And like, that is a really big part of networking. Like, if you don't go, you can miss out on a lot of stuff. I'm not saying for every industry, but definitely every industry, but the industries that I've worked in for sure.
Yeah.
In terms of like, if you find it unbearable, I know what you mean. I've worked with people that I really love working with. I work with people that I have friends from.
She said they're dirty though.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. I've got friends from previous places, but I've also worked with dirty people. I've also worked with people who I would never in a million years speak to.
When we say dirty, sorry, I'm so sorry to cut you off, but when we say dirty, we talk hygiene.
I'm assuming she means hygiene.
Okay.
Or even stuff like, I worked with a girl, and anybody who worked with me at this place will know exactly who I'm talking about. But I worked with a girl, and she used to fart, and her farts were rancid. Like, she would fart, and she would deny it, but everybody knew it was her. It got to a place where she would fart, and then everyone knew the scent of her fart. It was disgusting, and like,
that would make me heat.
Imagine having to hang out with her.
I wouldn't.
No, but you will hang out together as work colleagues, isn't it? So, like, it's that sort of thing that's nasty.
Yeah.
Like, why would I want to spend my time with you?
Yeah.
So what I used to do, as I said, is go to some of them, the minority, and also pick and choose the ones. Like, if you're going to go to, I always pick and choose the ones where you could go and leave early. Ones where there's a finite period of time, dead. But like, the other thing you can do is go, show your face and dip.
That's very true.
And then you're saying, okay, like, you spend 9 to 5 with them. You don't want to spend 6 to 10 with them, which I think is very fair. But it might be that you go, you have one drink, everyone sees your face, you slip
and then
out.
You go,
and by that time, everyone's already pissed anyway. They're not really focused on what you're doing.
That's true.
Do you know what I mean? Or like, you just need to be present enough. Like, obviously find your boundary. And some people have like social anxiety and all of that stuff. And if you do have social anxiety, I think it's definitely something that you can like at least share with one person who can be like, oh, you know, when people start peer pressure, someone who can be like, who can have your back and stuff like that. But just find your boundary and say, okay, this is my limit. I can go, and I've literally gone to things for half an hour, but no one can say that I didn't go.
Yeah. And I think that's the advice right there, isn't it? Because that's probably the balance that you need to not be deemed as antisocial or not a team player and all of these kind of things, but you're still, you know, if you're not comfortable after 30 minutes, 45 minutes, you can go home. And like you said, no one can tell you didn't come.
Yeah, exactly. And also, if you don't go to things, when you do give them half an hour, 45 minutes, they're grateful for the crumbs.
That's true.
If you're not someone who usually goes, and they'll be like, oh, just come for one. And then you come for the one, you'll be like, oh, I've got to go, like, you know, blah, blah, blah. And like, that's fine.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
it's true.
Then you become, rather than have the reputation for being the person that doesn't come, you're the person that doesn't stay long. Because you know, there's people that have the reputation for being the last one. Exactly.
That's okay.
Exactly.
People have kids and they'll be like, oh no, I want to tuck my child in.
Whilst you're there, you make your presence known, say hi, mingle, dip.
And then go. I think that's good advice.
Yeah. Or don't go, but it may impact, depending on where you work, it may impact. So how long are you planning on being there for? Are you really trying to progress in this role? It sounds like the person is, but if you're not, and you know, like, it's not going to be, you might just say, oh, you're not going to go.
I just don't want to engage in
other thing you can do, if there are things that you actually like doing which are social, sometimes you can suggest those sort of things. If you know, okay, if I have to be with my colleagues, these are the kind of things I'd like to do, then you can actually start suggesting those things. So like activities, or it may be what you're doing, because a lot of the time, like, we had when I've worked in large teams before, it used to be pub, and we had some Muslim people in our team that said, it's not that I don't want to come out, I don't want to always go to the pub, it's exclusive and I can't come anyway. Why can't we do something that's social, like that, around an activity, or you know, around food, or around, you know, just something else. So I definitely think that you can make suggestions about things that you would rather do. But yeah, the only advice I can do is to only go to some and not stay long. But people will.
Yeah, I feel like pubs, if it is pubs anyway, that's just so outdated now because...
No, but the people, one thing about this country, yeah, alcohol is everything. When we were doing, remember lockdown, there'll be an announcement on everything and there'll be a specific section on what's happening with the pubs. Pubs must be open, pubs must be closed, pubs can have this capacity. Why do we have a pub section? It's a pandemic.
It's true, but I just feel, excuse me, in my old role, before people say they can't hear me, no, in my old role, there was a lot of social activities and it wasn't just pubs. To be fair, I can't remember. I don't think I entered a pub whilst I was there, but there was loads of social. There was quiz nights. There was like go-karting. There was like escape rooms. There was.
Do you know the other thing?
Things.
I think a lot of people don't mind socializing, especially when it's not outside working hours. If you really want us to all do an activity together, let's leave at 2. Because no one minds going from 2 to 5 when it's time that you would have otherwise
work hours.
Yeah, like when you start going into people's time, I don't understand why more employers don't do that. You want us to spend time together. You want us to team build. You want us to bond.
Yeah, but not on their time. Not pay you.
But you can. But sometimes you leave early. That's what they should do because you get better turnout. People that are saying that they have kids and stuff.
Yeah,
you'll be at work during this time anyway. What makes you resent it so much is your personal time.
Yeah, that's true.
But if you weren't doing working hours, it would be more bearable just by fact of like at least you're being paid to be here.
Yeah, some companies do that, but it's not
companies where you go and you do the team building during work hours.
Yeah, but those are
more inclusive.
They're like once a year.
Yeah, but it's more inclusive because you do like you people that are parents or have caring responsibility or live far. All of those, and those are the ones that get left out.
True. But I guess in summary for me, I would definitely say you can choose not to, but I definitely do feel like there are consequences for choosing not to. It is really sad. That also leads me on to another point.
Sorry, you're summarising. I interrupted you.
No, it's even fine. Forget the summary. It just leads me on to another point that sometimes your personality can really hold you back. And I'm just speaking for myself. I'm quite a shy, timid type of a character unless I'm really comfortable around people and I've known you for a while. Then you'll see my other side. But that definitely does have an impact on you wanting to socialize and wanting to get to know people. And it's kind of a shame that you could be amazing at your job or you could have that you could be skilled, qualified, all of those things. But just because you're not putting yourself in those social settings, you're not being seen. And it's really sad because it can hinder your progression. And it just goes back to, there are some people who are really, really crap at their jobs, and you'll see it a lot, especially like the banking industry and the financial services. They're literally like one pip away from leaving. But because they socialize and they know the MD and they're still hanging about. They're still hanging about. Yeah. And unfortunately, that's just how the industry is.
The other thing, sorry, just to add, we can actually get close, but if you are not a social person, you feel like it's holding you back. Sometimes you can find a substitute for it. So like, let's say you don't get exposure from being like, you don't want to go outside, do stuff outside of your working hours and stuff. Sometimes you can pick up like additional responsibilities or do certain type of work which gives you that exposure anyway. Okay. So if there's something, you might be the kind of person you maybe not comfortable in a group, but you don't mind doing one-to-one things. So you might pick up a role in your business where or in your team where you have to have conversations with people on a one-to-one basis. You get to, it gives you, opportunity to speak to people that you might not have spoken to, but you don't have to do it in a group and you don't have to do it during your working hours. So it's kind of like compensating for the fact that people don't get to know you in that context, but you give them opportunities to know you in another context. Yeah. So if it's like you join a committee or, or whatever.
That's true. And you build your, you can get over those stumbling blocks, I guess. Yeah. On a side note, I feel like the pod is mine. I feel like it's helped me like
get over your shyness.
Yeah. I think so. I don't know if you saw on my Insta.
Yeah, I saw someone comment for you. I've never heard you speak this much in my life.
And it's true. But I'm here for it. I feel a lot more confident and I do feel not as shy. But yeah, it's weird.
It's funny because I don't think anyone has ever called me shy in my life. But I've got a lisp, and when it came to like speaking in public with people I didn't know or to audiences that I wasn't familiar with, like I didn't necessarily like it and I felt really uncomfortable. And that is actually the reason that I initially started my YouTube channel.
To push yourself.
Yeah, so that I can just hear myself speaking, get over that and all of that stuff. And it has helped. Like now, like I don't care about it at all.
Yeah. And that's the thing. Once you get to the other side, it's fine. But yeah, all of those insecurities, anxiety, they're real things, and maybe it's another thing for another day.
Yeah, and we should talk about it because as much as we're saying this stuff, if you genuinely have like anxiety or social anxiety, none of these tips or anything is going to make a difference. You don't want to go.
Yeah, it's true.
Do you know what I mean? And in that case, you might just have to share with someone that, or you might just have to accept that this is what you're going to do, and maybe it'll hold you back, but at least on a day-to-day basis, you feel comfortable.
Yeah. Kind of have to decide, isn't it? Yeah, that was a really good dilemma.
Yeah, please send your dilemmas in, guys. Get us on Instagram, on Twitter, on the email.
On the email, which I don't know, but it will be below this in the description box. You said Instagram, you said Twitter.
Yeah.
We are on TikTok.
Oh, yeah. Do you know, it's so bad. We are on TikTok. We're talking about being consistent. We're very consistent on Instagram, innit?
Yeah.
TikTok and Twitter.
Oh, YouTube.
Oh, yeah, YouTube. But you can't really send dilemmas in on YouTube.
No dilemmas. But you can. It's nice to hear your thoughts.
Yeah.
Though, like comments.
So we should shout some people out. So shout out Marie, always commenting.
Consistent.
There's a lady called, I think her at is intentional adulting. Mm-hmm. She always comments, so we appreciate you.
Appreciate it.
Everyone who comments on like our Instagram, all of the reels, all of that stuff, like we appreciate you.
We had a small win. We've got 50 subscribers on YouTube.
Yay.
And that's a win for us.
Yeah,
so
we're really happy about that actually.
Yeah.
So we appreciate it all. And then I was gonna say something. Oh yeah, rate us on Spotify and on iTunes.
Yes, please.
We're like a 5-star on a 4.9 or something. So
4.9.
No, on Spotify. On Apple, I think we've had like 2 ratings.
Oh,
but they're both 5, so
we'll take it.
Okay, cool. What I'm gonna do actually, I'm gonna plug myself again. So I'm off at the moment, but I do have a couple of roles that are ticking along. So if you're looking for a talent partner role, I've got a talent partner role, it's a recruitment business partner role or whatever you want to call it. It's at 50k. Really, really, really cool tech company. They're just looking for a superstar. You only have to have like 2+ years experience, just be able to do end-to-end recruitment. Get at me. I'm also recruiting for a standalone HR manager, also at 50k. These are both London based. So yeah, if you have,
that's really good. 50k, 2 years experience
for a talent partner. Yeah, it's really good. Like they just want somebody who's really ambitious and who can like just do end-to-end recruitment. And right now the market for recruiters is really tight.
That's what I was
so actually
say.
That has driven up salaries.
Yeah, I was about to say that. So yeah,
and generally if you're looking for your next HR role, just get at me.
Yes.
Cool. I think that's, oh my god, I have to say it for Velisa.
No, can we say it together?
Yeah, okay. 1, 2, 3. That's a wrap.
We didn't even say it right.
Bye guys.
Bye.